What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 11 of Lyon Live here in FM 19. Hopefully you guys are good. Today we're back, and to be honest, this is the third time I've tried recording this intro. I just can't get into a flow. So, take 3, lights, camera, action. Hopefully we can actually get further than 10 seconds in today. To be honest, I'm at a point now where no matter what happens, I'm just going to keep going. I thought we'd start on my profile today. Of course, there is something of significance here, and it's staring us right in the face. It's the fact that our current contract only has 6 months left to run. Of course, if you watched last episode, you know why that's kind of funny. It's entirely my own fault. If you missed yesterday's episode for whatever reason, do go check it out. I'm actually behind the curtains here. I'm recording this video Wednesday night. You will see it on Friday. Thursday's video is therefore yet to go up. But if you haven't seen it, it was 5 matches. Yeah, it was a longer one. So I do recommend you check it out. Loads of action. For those of you who like the matches, it was a good episode for you guys. And, well, we're going to continue on today. And, well, to start things off, we have the Champions League, Club Brugge, in the final game of the group stage. A game that, if I've done my maths calculations right, and I hope I have, I believe we'd have to lose 3-0 to go out in. Just because of the way things work, we are 3 points ahead. Bruges need to win to tie us on points. But because when we met Bruges previously, we beat them 2-0 and they didn't score an away goal, I'm pretty certain that leaves us in a situation where even if we were to lose 2-0, we'd go through because our goal difference is better as well. So they need to score 3. If we score 1 goal, well, they need 4, I think, just because of the way stuff works. So theoretically, it should be a straightforward game to start things today. Of course, Memphis Depay is going to be injured for a fairly long time, which is not ideal at all. We've actually got that to contend with. I should probably rest my team a little bit as well. Let's do a wee bit of rotation here. Of course, Awar coming back from injury as well. So we are a little light in the final third. It's going to mean that Gravenberch and Cornet are going to be on the bench. Cornet, I like this guy, but to be honest, there's just not really been a spot for him in the team. He's good, but of all of our, I'll get my words out eventually. Of all of our attacking midfielders, he is just kind of the worst. I mean that in the nicest possible way. He's not a bad player, but we just have better options out there. Worth noting here, Gravenberch and Maxi are unhappy about the technical attacking training that they're doing. I guess we could put them on additional focus. I don't really want to change the team's overall thing, but I don't mind maybe switching them to attacking movement, although I might just ignore how unhappy they are because they're both improving a hell of a lot. I'm not too concerned about it. Usually when a player complains about training, I tend to ignore it. I don't recommend that as a solution to all your problems in life, but in Football Manager, if you've got players who are developing in training, they're putting in good performances, and they've got a specific complaint, but it doesn't really seem to be having an impact, I tend not to concern myself with it too much. It's kind of just the way I like to approach things. One thing I was going to do is I'm just going to rest all of our players for a day, the ones at least who I think are going to start the game. Is this the team I want to start? I think we will bring in Ndombele ahead of Papa Cech. Despite his long shot shenanigans last episode, I feel like Ndombele is just the better player, unfortunately for him. I mean, we can do a comparison here, but yeah, Tanguy is he's just better, basically. I mean, Cech has potential. He is a good player, and he has, a lot of first-team opportunities and will continue to get them, but I think common sense does have to prevail, and despite his average ratings not being superb, Ndombele has been largely pretty solid for us. And I'm hoping that maybe after having sat him out recently, he's going to come back into the team hungry. Anyway, I'm just making sure we've got our strongest team kind of prepared for this upcoming game. I think we have. Obviously, we've got Martinez, Cornet, Maximin, Gravenberch, Cech. We've got some real talent here. The whole squad, to be honest, has a really, really good balance about it here at Lyon. Obviously, we rotated the team a lot more to start with. I've kind of slowed down on the rotation a tiny bit as we've kind of started to find our groove. I do feel like our team is recovering pretty well between matches. Of course, today's game against Bruges, as I mentioned, is a game where we do go in with, well, the ball very much in our court. It's all kind of under our wraps. It's all under our control. We're not really in a position where we're hoping for stuff to go our way. Ultimately, it's for us to seize the moment. But because we have got that Monaco in a couple of days' time, there is kind of half an eye that I'm casting forward to that game and wondering, is there a few areas where we could maybe play weakened players? Unfortunately, I feel like in a situation where, despite how good a position we are in, I don't really want to risk it. You know, I'd rather just play our best team here and then worry about the Monaco game afterwards, kind of take it one game at a time. I mean, if I was going to do anything, it would be play Papa Cech. Maybe I will play him instead of Ndombele, because he did play so well last time out, and he is going to be suspended for the Monaco game anyway. So it kind of makes sense. What I do think is interesting is the fact we have 3 players you can see here in double figures for goals, and it's all of our attacking midfielders. Fekir is probably the most impressive of the lot. I think he has the most assists in the team as well, with 7. But you've got to remember, he was injured for 4 weeks earlier on this year. He missed a fair bit of football. And despite that, he's kind of right up there in the charts. I feel like it might be my home screen. Yeah, you can see out on our home screen, Fekir does have the most assists with 7. Papa Cech has 93% pass completion. Terrier has the most player of the matches with 5. That is an absolutely crazy sum, really, for a player who I, to be honest, didn't really see as a first-team player at the start of the year. But he has forced his way into contention. And with Memphis now out for a very long period of time yet again, 3 months, Terrier's going to get another opportunity to shine. And, well, you can see in the average ratings, actually, Bertrand Traoré up there. The best average rating in the team. He's been really, really solid. There's been a few games where he goes missing, but when he turns up hugely. And that's kind of what you want from your players, isn't it, ultimately? Anyway, let's get into today's first game. I don't think we're going to get as many games in as last episode, but we'll see how we get on. In terms of their system, they are playing... I mean, what is this? A 3-2-3-2? Yeah, I don't know what to describe that as. I feel like we should be able to overload them out wide. Given the fact their wide midfielders are starting deeper, I am going to push our wing-backs just into the attack duty to start the game. It's kind of a no-brainer, just given the way they're approaching things. They are not really throwing too many men forward in the wide department. Yes, they're playing with 2 strikers, but between our 2 centre-backs and Toussaint, I feel like we should be able to contain them. Really, we should be winning this midfield battle, I feel like, fairly comfortably. And I think when it comes to the wide areas, there's going to be space for us to punish them in and exploit them in. This is a formation that, to be honest, Club Brugge, I think, are shooting themselves in the foot by playing. I mean, it's worked against Dortmund, so maybe I shouldn't speak too soon. But I feel like areas like this is just where we are going to punish them out wide. There's an argument to say I should switch the inside forwards to wingers just to hug the byline. But I'm hoping they'll kind of just do that of their own accord. We'll see how we get on as the game goes on. It might be a case of that they're so compact in the middle that we get space out wide but then can't work it into the centre. You never really know with these things. Clearly, it's worked against the likes of Dortmund on multiple occasions this season, so we can't afford to underestimate them. But you can see here, Tete on the overlap, crosses it into Dembele, and, well, he is back to scoring ways, isn't he? 8th goal of the season for him. If you missed last episode, you're going to be sat there thinking, well, Dembele had 2 last episode. He did have 2 before last episode. He's got 5 in 5 games last time out. This man is in form. Tete getting in behind, as I said. The question really was going to be, could we pick out the men in the middle? Because they're playing with 3 centre-backs and 2 defensive midfielders, they are going to be packed in their box and really crowding out the centre of the pitch. So whilst they expect us to have space out wide, finding that killer ball inside could have been troublesome. But we've shown there that it's maybe not going to be so difficult. Hopefully we can continue to do more of the same. Toussaint, lovely ball to him, edge of the box. I thought he was going to shoot. I would not have been a fan of it. Crosses it, back post, and, well, there you go. It's from one wing to the other, and they've got all these men in the middle, but it's just a back post cross. Bertrand Traoré, 11th goal of the season. With that, becomes the top goal scorer in the team. And yeah, you can see here they have so many men in the middle. I mean, if we just pause here, you can kind of just see the problem. They've got their 3 centre-backs, 2 defensive mids are somewhere. I mean, their shape is all over the place, to be honest, at this point. The bottom line is that they've got so many men in the middle. No one picking up the inside forward or even the wing-back drifting in at the back post. I think we're going to run rampant here, to be honest. One of those incidents where the AI picks a tactic that kind of suits the players and probably serves them fairly well in certain games, but it's got a very glaring weakness and we are going to, well, punish it to the extreme, I hope, over the rest of this game. I feel like we should be getting a few more. The unfortunate thing for Club Brugge here is that, if I'm not mistaken, they now need 5 goals, which doesn't seem likely because we've got 2 away goals in this game and we beat them 2-0 previously. To get a better head-to-head record, they need to beat us 5-2 on aggregate, which seems unlikely as Dembele comes forward again. We could switch the ball to the back post here. We don't quite get it there, although there might be another chance. Papa Cech, he's shown us what he can do at the edge of the box previously. Whenever he gets the ball now, I have an air of anticipation. Marcel with loads of space to work in here. Dinks it in. It's cleared away. I mean, are they going to try and hit us on the counter here? They're trying to play the ball out from the back, which is admirable. Wesley through here. He's not the quickest player, but he's got support in Vossen. And, oh, it's a tidy finish, to be fair. I want to say it's against the run of play, but truth be told, despite our 2 goals, it's been a game of few chances, really. And they've hit us on the break. They've hit us hard. Is that, I guess that's going to be Marcelo, it is. He's not particularly quick as Marcelo. You could tell there his acceleration was a little bit lacking in the tracking back. Wesley, who's not quick himself, getting in behind. Oh, we need to try and bounce back now. Can we work something here? Fekir, running through the middle, hits it. The fact he managed to find a channel of space to move through in the centre there is incredible because they've got so many men deep. I mean, to be fair to Bruges, yes, we've scored 2, but besides that, we've not created a great deal. And, well, we've had 0 clear-cut chances. They have, well, nullified us in a lot of ways. In terms of what I'm going to tell all the players in the dressing room, I'm far from pleased. Marcel looks stressed. Look, I'm pleased with you, mate. Calm. I'm happy. Look at that. We know how to address the individuals in the dressing room. He was on his own having a bit of a cry. Everyone else was loving the team talk. He was not. We whisper some words in his ear. And he's now inspired for the second half. Terry has not got the best average rating here. Given the current situation where they're going to need a lot of goals to swing things around, I'm actually going to bring in Martinez on the left wing to give him some game time. I'm also going to take off Fekir and rest him with the Monaco game in mind. Given the fact he has had a few injury worries this year. And, well, we should be getting through this game now. It makes sense to give Gravenberch, the youngster, some game time especially. He's 16. I mean, this is a massive game for him to come into. With the injury to Aouar, it's kind of an opportunity for him to be on the bench and have an impact. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. We've got the ball here. Tete on the right-hand side. Loads of space to roam into. Crosses it. Martinez misses it. Gets in the rebound, though. That was a really tight rebound. I'm surprised he got that in. I mean, he should have scored at the first time of asking, but nevertheless, Joseph Martinez, 3rd goal of the season for him. It's the fullback Tete with another assist to add to his collection. He's got a lot this year. Keeper, not convincing, but I was very much convinced Martinez was not getting that in there. I was bracing myself for like the near post to be rattled by that tight-angled shot. But to be fair, he squeezed it in pretty tidily. And that's going to, well, hopefully do his confidence a world of good. Hopefully he can build off that now. We've got one last change we can make here. I'm going to bring in Denayer for, I think, for Wallace. Just give Wallace a bit of a rest. Give Denayer some game time. He's a good player, Denayer. Could it potentially be the long-term successor to Marcelo alongside Wallace? It'll be interesting. I think Denayer is a player who has some pretty good potential, at least in the, well, from the star ratings that he has, but he is 23, so it's a question of how much is he actually going to improve. Lopez with a fine stop there, by the way. They hammered that in at the back post. He tipped it over. Brave save, reached high. They have got a corner now. I mean, I'd still like to win this on the night. At 3-1 up, we shouldn't be conceding 2, I guess, in the last 4 minutes. But, well, it's been done. I feel like, to be honest, to get out of this group is a very, very good achievement. I know that might sound odd because of the way it's panned out with Dortmund, well, losing to Brugge, I think, twice. But ultimately, at the start of the group stage, if you'd shown me Juventus and Dortmund, I would have been pretty nervous and pretty scared. I would have said that's not the easiest group we could have got. But we've played well throughout. We've turned up. We're going to get to the first knockout round. And you'd have to say we really do deserve it. I think our only 2 losses came against Juventus. And of course, one of those losses was that last-minute goal that you saw last episode. You can see Bruges on 6 points, so Dortmund completely crashing out of Europe. That's going to be a big shock there. Edouard, the top goal scorer. I guess he scored in all the qualifiers for Celtic as well. How did PSG and Monaco get on? Let's have a look. I might have missed them at the top. So PSG won their group. What about Monaco? Am I blind? Monaco, where art thou? Wow, they finished bottom of Group G. That is a group of death, though. Jeez, okay, I feel bad for them. I wanted to complain about my group. That is a group of death, but they got annihilated in it badly. That is Not particularly pretty viewing. Hopefully that confidence hammering that they've endured is going to help us out when we now come to play them in the league. Is Aouar going to be fit? No. Czech's suspended, so the only real centre mid I have who I could bring in besides McTominay is Maxi here. But to be honest, he's done so well in training and improved a lot, the 18-year-old. Whilst he's yet to make his first team debut this season, I think this could be a pretty good opportunity to have him on the bench for him to be a player that maybe we do turn to. He does look very, very good. As for our team, I'm going to rest them for 2 days here going into the Monaco game just to make sure we're at maximum fitness. I don't think Mendy's going to be back, which is a bit of a shame. It would have been nice to have him return, but, well, we'll have to see how we get on. You can see, obviously, we've got this game against Monaco. We've then got Stade de Reims. We're really not that far away from the January transfer window either. Whilst we haven't got a whole lot of money to spend, I talked a little bit about it last episode, but obviously I'm looking at players who we can maybe sign when their contracts have 6 months left. I would really like to make a board request for a bigger transfer budget because we've got so much money in the bank here. And given how well we're doing on the pitch, I'd like to think that the board would back me. Whether or not the lack of a new contract, because I rejected the contract talks, is going to be a problem remains to be seen. Toussaint here doing well in training. He looks incredible. I'm going to be honest, I've gone training to be a ball-winning midfielder. I'm actually half tempted to train to play like roaming playmaker, just to get his physicals on the whole a little bit better, but also just to help him technically. His tackling and marking are fine for a ball-winning midfielder. I don't mind 14s and 15s here, but if he could get his first touch dribbling long shots, some of these things up a little, it might help us. I'm just wonder if there's a role where we could get similar stuff, but also the defending attributes in. Segundo Volante is probably the best option, actually. It sounds so fun to say, doesn't it, Segundo Volante? The only issue is it does train finishing a little bit. I mean, I don't hate that, to be honest. I don't. I think we might train him as a Segundo Volante. I don't mind him not having dribbling either. He's not really going to be running with the ball that much from his position and the pitch and the roles that we're going to play him in. So I think we'll go with that. One thing I did want to do, is completely escaped my mind, is I've noticed that with some of our players, I guess Bertrand Traoré might be a good example. He has obviously the cuts inside from both wings trait. There's some traits that I'd really like to give our players who I like to play in the inside forward areas, and one of them is it moves into channels, because I think that is very, very good at the moment in FM. Apparently, it's not one of his strengths. I'm going to just tell the reserve manager to stick it to him. I feel like moves into channels is just a good one to try and get on these kind of players. It's just to be honest, even with strikers, I like moves into channels as a movement player preferred move, as kind of one of the things they like to do. And also I think it works quite nicely for strikers. So with this kind of thing where it's good for inside forwards and strikers, and we have players who do both of those things, I feel like it's pretty nice. You can see Dembele already has it as a trait. It's one that I do really, really like, alongside kind of cuts inside, which naturally is just a good one to have. Obviously you can see here Joseph Martinez has cuts inside from both wings. So again, he's got 11 anticipation. I feel like he should be able to get moves into channels as well, which would be beneficial. Again, I'm going to tell my assistant manager he's wrong. We'll see how it works out. Obviously, if it doesn't work out, I will take full responsibility. Same with Saint Maximin. I would also like to have him cut in from the right-hand side as well as the left. But actually, I feel like, oh, of course. No, don't cancel. We're trying to develop his weaker foot. I totally forgot. So we can't actually give him a lesson in moving into the channels. Marin, you already have cuts the ball in from both wings. Man, Marin is so good at the start of the game. And that broken ankle that he had has completely wrecked his early development. Again, let's try and get moves into channels. Where is moves into channels? Am I blind? Does he already have it? Am I crazy? Did I select the wrong thing? Why is it not there? I don't even know. Is that just because only strikers can have it now? Answers on a postcard, if you know. I actually don't know why that's not there. But yeah, I really rate player preferred moves. I know some people go kind of crazy with them. They'll have really specific ones for certain positions. So they might play a system like mine, and they'll want always their ball-winning midfielder to have marks opponents tightly as a PPM. I actually don't think that's necessarily the worst thing to get onto Sart, particularly if there are games where we want him to man mark the centre attack in mid. It could be kind of useful. But yeah, there's some people who swear by certain player preferred moves that they need for roles in their systems. Again, I wouldn't mind with Fekir having moves into channels. Again, I'm gonna just ignore our assistant manager. Apparently, he doesn't have good anticipation. He has 13 anticipation. I'm curious now to see how well those players may learn it. I guess we'll find out. I know there's gonna be some people wincing as I tell every player to learn to move into the channels, but I do think it's a really important one, and they won't do it all the time. And equally, I feel like everyone has their own kind of different opinions on what they want player-preferred moves. You know, some people love to have a ball-winning midfielder who dives into tackles, especially if they've got good decision-making, good tackling and such. Whereas there's other people who, even if they've got a really good tackler, might not want that PPM. I should point out, when I say PPM, I'm obviously talking about player-preferred moves. It's just a bit of a mouthful. Right, you can see here, Mendy's not going to be back. Aouar's not back. Obviously, Papacek suspended. Depay is injured. So in terms of our team, I'm kind of happy to go with this. I kind of wish I didn't have to play Ndombele because he's not been in good form. I think I held off criticising him recently for his form. Or did I criticise him recently for his form? Maybe I did. I don't have the option to do it again. I don't know if that's just because I initiated a conversation with him and it was the wrong one. But hopefully he can turn around his form. You can see Fekir's not at the best average rating over the last few games. What does please me is just the amount of goals we're scoring, the amount of assists, and the fact that the assists are coming from everywhere. Yes, Fekir's getting a lot as the set-piece taker. But across the whole team, you know, assists are just coming left, right and centre. There isn't kind of one player I feel like we're overly reliant on. And I think we showed that actually when Fekir was injured and we did well without him. Right, anyway, let's get into this game. We're at home for it, and based off our learnings against Juventus, where we tried playing a more defensive system at home, it didn't really work, and the fact we're top of the league and we're high on confidence, let's see what we can do here. Now, interestingly, they're going with Tielemans and Ziyech, and Almiron as their centre mids. They've not really got a defensive midfielder between those two. I guess Tielemans to an extent is, but 12 marking, 12 tackling, 11 positioning. They've not got a lot of balance in their midfield. And then you look at the Chadley, I feel like all of their midfielders are not good defensively. Pavon as well is going to be similar. So actually, I feel like in this kind of game, rather than stepping off their players, this is actually the right thing. And even, you can see here, Henrich is not a particularly good centre-back. If they got a load of injuries, I want to check this now. Is there a reason they're playing like this? Like, are they missing some important players for them? Let's take a look real quick. If we just look at their team here. So, Jemison is injured. I guess he would be starting at centre-back for them. I mean, it looks like they've just signed a load of attacking players. You can see that they've got loads of defensive midfielders who are unhappy at the moment. I guess they're just not playing first-team football. I was curious, if we just look at their transfers, they've got Pavon, they've got Ziyech, and they've got Almiron. So they've signed a ton of attacking kind of centre midfielders who are all pretty similar, which is a curious decision. I guess we'll see if it works out for them in this game against us. It feels like they are going to be playing very much on the front foot, and as a result, I kind of want to go on the front foot as well. I say that. Our system here, obviously, we don't actually play on attacking, we're playing on positive. And we are usually pretty good defensively. Not flawless, and especially lately we have been shipping in goals. But despite their attacking quality, I feel like we're going to be okay here. Right, we've got a set piece early on. Fekir whips it in. It's headed away by Traore. Another thing I noticed is they're not particularly tall in the air, Monaco. But, well, maybe the rainy weather's going to work in their favour. Maybe the wind and Ndombele. I mean, he's watched Papacek, hasn't he? He's been sat on the bench watching the other centre mid for us. He's watched all those long shots go in and he's thought, I could do that. And as we've just learnt, he can't. He's not good enough. Anyway, Toussaint, nice header away to Almiron, who we were going to sign. Remember that. I mean, we should click him and have him highlighted. Anytime he does anything, just think that could have been for us. including when he inevitably screws up. Anyway, they're trying to work the ball at the back here. Nice tackle by Marcel, who, well, lumps it forward to Dembele, who's in form, but he is on his own. He's on his own, and he almost scored. That would have been a really impressive goal if he'd managed to squeeze that in from that angle. I was not anticipating a goal. I'll be completely transparent with you, but he broke through, bit of grass in front of him, and did pretty well. Fekir, set piece here, hits it. Subasic makes a nice save, but early on, we're having a lot of the ball, and we're playing on the front foot, and as I said, we kind of have a bit of an advantage, I think, in the air. I feel like we should be winning a midfield battle here, especially if we're the team having more of the ball. Out of possession, their team is not the best defensively, and that is something that I definitely think we can take advantage of. Of course, when they have the ball, they are going to have that creative kind of prowess to punish us. That's what they were looking to do there, but we've come away with the ball now. Wallace gets the ball up. Dembele's trying to make a run. It's Henrichs with the ball in the air. He's not particularly good in the air. He's not a natural centre-back, so a player we might be able to, force a mistake out of. In some ways, I'm actually even tempted to move Dembele to play slightly to the right rather than dead centre. And Ndombele, chance here, crosses it in. Traore, is it a goal or is it offside? We're going to VAR. We're going to VAR. I don't know if this is going to count. I think it is, but I don't know. And I'm always scared about prematurely celebrating with VAR. I mean, on the sideline, I'm going bananas. Is it going to count? I think it is going to count. I don't know what it could have been disallowed for. I mean, after PSG United, I have a perpetual fear of VAR making weird decisions. I don't know what that could have been disallowed for. It's been given. Was it because... I mean, it couldn't have been because if it crossed the line, because we know that immediately. I guess it was offside. Either way, we go a goal up here. We've got another set piece here. Whip back post. Wallace is there. Fekir with another assist. And Monaco, they just don't look good defensively. They look like a team without balance. I mentioned doing this change. I'm actually going to try it. So we're going to move Dembele to the right. And then we're going to move Fekir to the left. And the reason for doing that is I want Dembele to be stood on Henrichs for them. Who's not a particularly comfortable centre-back. And then Fekir is going to run at Glick, who's not particularly quick. And I think that could actually work quite nicely in our favour. I assume Glick's not quick. He's not slow, to be fair, but 10 acceleration. I feel like that's something we, having Fekir run at him could be potentially useful for. Anyway, they've got a set piece here. Wallace heads it away. Can we hit them on the break now? It's going to be Traore bringing the ball forward. Switches the play to Dembele, who's in that channel of space, and what a finish that is. It's 3-0 against Monaco, folks. I'm going to claim complete tactical credibility for the fact that he's that side of their centre-backs rather than dead centre between the two. But, Traore brings the ball with pace. A lovely little ball. And then, I'm going to be honest, I didn't think he was going to finish that from there. It's his 9th of the season. Dembele has found his shooting boots. I don't know where they were to start the season, but I'm glad he's found them now. Half time here, 3-0. And yes, I know that we're at home. I know that probably gives us a bit of an edge, and they've not been in particularly good form. And looking at their team, Monaco's team selection doesn't seem to make a great deal of sense. But they are third in the league, and they are only 4 points behind us. And I think they may have only lost one game prior to this. So the fact that we are schooling them like this is huge. We are teaching them a lesson. And Toussaint wins the ball here. Dembele to Fekir. Have a go. Why not? Ndombele. Channel your inner Papa Cech. Marcel keeps the ball in well. Crosses it. Fekir. Ndombele. I mean, there you go. There is his inner Papa Cech. Lovely finish. 4-0 here. I mean, let's just have a party now, shall we? You can see Dembele stood on between Barreca and Henrichs rather than in the centre. I mean, lovely goal, lovely finish. Really, really nice play here. Traore's on a booking. I don't really want him to get sent off, so we'll just take him off for Saint-Maximin just to get some fresh legs on. If I'm not mistaken, Saint-Maximin a former Monaco player? He is. You can see here he went from Monaco to Nice. I mean, let's see if he can score against his former club. I'm actually tempted to give Maxi a debut here as well. You know what? Why not? I mean, if we now lose this, we'll look back on this moment as a mistake, but I'm going to give him a debut. just in that defensive midfielder position. Ndombele's had an incredible game, by the way. He's on a 9.1. Talked about his recent form being a little bit questionable. I mean, he's found it, and that form when we needed him to. I admire the fact that St. Maximin has come on off the bench and got a booking immediately. He's hungry for it. Terrier's been a bit quiet, so last change, we'll bring in Martinez. I'm going to change him to be on attack because I'm reckless. And at 4-0, I feel like even if we switch him to attack and concede, I can't see us losing the game. And it might just help him get a goal on that right-hand side. So why not put him on attack and see what he can do? Anyway, Ndombele here to Wallace. Unfortunately for us, PSG are 3-0 up in their game. So despite this fantastic result here, as things stand, it's not going to change a great deal in the title race. Marçal tries to get the ball in. Ronnie Lopez deals with it and then gives it to Fekir very kindly. Martinez to St. Maximin. I mean, what an effort that was. I'm not sure if the deflection off the post made any sense by the laws of physics. But it was not a bad effort. How's Maxi got on since we brought him on? What is his rating? I'm curious. Played pretty much the entirety of the second half. Ndombele, man of the match. I mean, fair play. He got a 6.6. He did nothing when he came on. I mean, we didn't concede when he came on, so that's something. But yeah, what a performance by Ndombele. A player who, I want to say, obviously he's been out of the first team a little bit since last episode, just because he was in a bit of bad form and then Papa Cech didn't stop scoring. He's been given an opportunity in this game to come back into the team and he has made it count. You can see Maxi here makes his senior debut for the club. His contract's up in less than 2 years. I kind of want to give him a new one before he gets too involved in the first team. How does that look? Look, a 5-year deal. I'm not giving you any yearly wage rise though, son. So you can change your mind if you think that's happening. Right. So we've got the Coupe de la Ligue next, a competition that I have far too much fun saying the name of. And that is going to be against Rennes, who are currently 12th in the league. So they're not going to be pushovers. But I might be tempted to rotate the team a little bit. Raphael is learning his coaching course, despite the fact he's going to China soon. The fact he's doing his coaching badges at 28 is a tiny bit concerning for the direction of which he thinks his career might be going, I feel like. I feel like early 30s is acceptable to be getting your coaching badges. Musterman's back again. We just click the bottom option every time and he goes away after 3 clicks. We've learned that now. Can I ask the board yet for an increased transfer budget? No. And I can't ask for a new contract either. Oh, I can't believe I did that last episode. That was so dumb of me. I was just in autopilot mode. Anyway, let's go for the automatic draw here. Bit of drama. We are an unseeded team. Let's see who we end up getting, shall we? I mean, who would we want out of the seeded teams? There isn't really an easy draw. Tottenham, maybe? That's not easy, though. Tottenham's gone. I mean, there's Atletico, Juventus, Real Madrid. There's not an easy team left in here. We can't get Juve, so we're getting one of the big Spanish teams. It's going to be Barca, isn't it? It's going to be Barca. It's going to be Barca. Okay, it's Madrid. I mean, I would have looked really psychic if I'd managed to pull it off. But no, Atletico Madrid in the first knockout round. I mean, it's not the easiest first round draw. They're currently second in their league. You can see here they are 3 points behind Barcelona. In terms of the leagues I've got active, I had someone write a weird comment recently. When did I choose to add Spain? I don't remember that. But when it comes to the leagues, I've only got France's leagues loaded, but you'll notice my player count is still very high. When I set up the save game, I set it up in a way whereby we force load all the players who play at top European clubs. So if they are based in Europe and play for a top tier team, they were always going to load in. And additionally, I did select all these leagues to be view only, I believe, which is why we can actually see them here. Just so you guys are aware. I had someone comment on it recently saying, oh, you've only got France loaded, so it's going to be easier for you in Europe. I've force loaded every player who plays for a top European team, so it's not going to make an ounce of difference. There's always going to be good players. Aouar returns to full training. So does Mendy, which is good news. Mendy's been out for such a long time, though. I'm going to make him available for the reserves until match fit. We don't need to rush him back to the first team. How has his injury impacted him? Man, he has actually declined more than I would like to admit. He's still a very good player with potential at 23, so I'm not too concerned. Apparently Traore might be set for a move to Tottenham. I don't know about that one, Chief. I mean, what would my asking price be? With like United and Arsenal and Tottenham interested, I want to ask for like 80 million for him. The only thing I've got to consider is the fact he has got a release clause or a buyback clause with Chelsea, which is a teeny tiny bit concerning, I'm not going to lie to you. Anyway, we've got this RM game now. Traore is suspended for it, so I think we'll give Cornet a start. We can bring Marin onto the bench. This might be a good opportunity just to rotate the team a little bit. It could backfire. It definitely could, but at the same time, I'm kind of willing to take that risk a little bit here. I'm quite keen to just rotate the 11, give a few players who don't normally play a chance to play, just see how they get on as much as anything. Could be a good chance to get some match fitness as well on off the bench, potentially. I think we'll start Martinez ahead of Dembele. It's pretty much our front four is rotated, as are our centre mids. In terms of rotating the defence, do I want to do anything? We could play Denea instead of Marcelo. Maybe Lala. A right back. Dubois. I know you've been complaining about lack of first team football. We'll give him a chance to show us what he's worth. I'm just wondering, do I actually want to play Mbia here? I don't really want to play too many players who aren't match fit. We've already got a few in there. You know what? I think we'll keep Wallace in the team just because he has been so good for us. But yeah, for the most part, this is going to be a rotated team. We're going to give Dubois a chance at left back today. Obviously, Lala at right back has been very good when we've called upon him. Good to keep his match fitness up a little. Denea, just a centre back with a lot of potential. Obviously, we've got Maxi, who made his debut last time out, has just signed a new contract. We'll give him a start today to reward the fact he did pretty well against Monaco. Didn't screw up in a very easy game to have crumbled under the pressure. And then, well, Maxwell Cornet, he just needs some first-team football. I wanted to keep him in the team, particularly if Traore could be on his way out, if we did get a monstrous offer. Cornet would be a player who would then become more reliant on. St. Maximin looking for his first league goal or cup goal of the year. In fact, no, he did get one in the league, but he could do with a few more. He hasn't scored in a little while. And then Gravenberch at 16 just needs first-team football to continue his development. Few players lacking match fitness. You know, it's a bit of a rotated 11 for today's game, which is fine by me. They're playing a very narrow system, so we may switch our wing-backs to be on attack here. Just from the off, I feel like we can really hurt them out wide. Given the fact they're playing two strikers and a centre attacking mid, I'm going to drop Papaciek just a little bit deeper to hopefully help us out defensively. We'll see how that works out. It was the change that you might remember we were going to make against Ghent. The other team that we played in the group, Club Brugge. I'm getting all my Belgium teams and just various teams muddled up. But yeah, Club Brugge. This was something I was a bit wary of, is where we come up against two strikers and a centre attacking mid. Just having the ball winner drop deep should hopefully just give them a little bit of coverage, stop the centre attacking mid from being afforded too much space in the middle. This is a cup game. We are playing a rotated 11. It'd be great to go on a cup run, but it's not going to be the be-all or end-all. Given the fact we are doing so well in the league, stuff like this is a bit of a distraction in a way. I think the board do want to do well in this kind of competition, and well, I do too, to be fair, but I can't help but feel like there were bigger fish to fry. The team that we've got is very much capable of winning this game, otherwise I wouldn't pick it, but it's not a freebie. I mean, it wouldn't even be a freebie with our best 11, but you know, there's players who don't have match fitness who, you know, they've got a bit of a point to prove perhaps, but I have no idea how they're going to perform, so it's going to be a bit of a test for them. As well, St. Maximin gets a goal, which I'm kind of glad he's got. As I mentioned, he's only got one so far this year in the league. He's got 5 assists, to be fair. He's been pretty potent out wide for us, so it's good for him to be rewarded with a goal in this kind of game. You can see he was involved in the build-up play, actually gives the ball to Lala, then just continues on his run, and that's a really nice finish at the back post on the volley. Cannot understate how difficult that is. Often players just smash that over in FM. And in real life, I guess, but most notably in FM, they smash it over or just wide, and he has finished it really nicely. Hoping that Martinez can get a few goals. It'd be good to build up his confidence. And also Gravenberch, 16 years old. Want to remind you guys of that. He is very young. He's an inconsistent performer. Maybe he can turn up today and get his first goal. As St. Maximin doubles his goals, it's Kenny Lala with another assist at right back. I've got to be honest, Tete's been good at right back, but Lala has equally been just superb when we brought him in. It's kind of nice to be in a situation where in the fullback department, I've kind of got players who I can just rotate in and out based on, suspensions and, in a game where, for example, Tete gets a yellow card early on and I'm not sure if he's going to see out the game. The fact that we have a player as good as Lala who can now play right back and left back just on the bench ready to bring on, it's just a nice situation to be in. It's a good problem to have, having too many good fullbacks. And it's something that Lala brings to the team as a good problem. Anyway, 2-0 up at half-time here. They've not had a shot all game, so our reserves is doing okay. I imagine they're rotating their team a little bit. Of course, we're coming off the back of a game against Monaco where we did just play our best 11. This is a midweek game, so for a team like Rem, I guess the situation for them is kind of they don't have a squad for Europe. They don't have a squad where they need as much squad depth. So when it comes to these midweek games, they're a little out of the ordinary, I guess. I mean, given the fact they're a professional team, you expect them to have a squad, capable of coping with this kind of situation. But at the same time, it is, something a little unfamiliar for them. Whereas for us, it's pretty commonplace for us to be playing on a Wednesday night. I will say, given the fact that they have been so quiet at the back, going forward and we've been quiet at the back, there hasn't been a lot of highlights showing us being under pressure. You've got to assume that the defensive midfielder switch that we've done has kind of worked for us. I'm not seeing a great deal from their centre attacking mid. It feels like we have kind of shut them down in a lot of ways. In fact, you can see here they've actually subbed out their centre attacking mid and brought in Shea Ojo, the Liverpool youngster. 10 minutes left in this game. Let's make a few changes. Why not? Antonio Marin, I'm going to bring into the team. I'm going to bring him in for Cornet and Aouar as well. We'll bring him for Gravenberch. He was pretty quiet, Gravenberch. A 6.5 rating is not particularly good. Maybe we're rushing him into the first team a little bit too quickly. At the same time, though, we might be rushing him in too quickly, but it's not really going to have a negative impact on his development in playing these games and not performing well. It's just a case of maybe he's not going to benefit that much from it. Maybe we're throwing him into the deep end of a swimming pool before he's learnt to swim. Maybe he needs to go to the kiddie pool, play a bit more with the reserves before we throw him in this kind of game. But a player who definitely doesn't have that problem is Aouar. And so just giving him 10 minutes here after his injury could just build him up to fitness. A player we're leaning on a fair bit before his injury. And I imagine we will continue to do so. So, keen to get him back in the first team, Aouar. Giving him game time, certainly, because he is one of the players with the best potential in this team. When you look across our whole team, we have a lot of players with a lot of potential, but Aouar, for me, kind of just stands out as that man who is the best of the bunch when it comes to our kids. Anyway, 2-0 finishes here. Pretty routine game. Never really looked in doubt, but at the same time, it wasn't a game where we ran rampant like perhaps we have in some other games. We cruised through. Apparently we hammer them. I feel like that's a little generous, but we were good. St. Maximin, man of the match performance. You were superb. In front of goal, my friend. Maybe throwing himself into some first team contention, potentially to start, although it's a bit of a tall order to break into our first team when you look at our centre attacking mids and the goals and assists that they're getting. If we just look actually at our fullbacks, you can see here Tete's got 4 assists, Lala's got 2, Marcel at left back's got 2 as well. Our left backs and just our fullbacks in general are chipping in with a fair few assists, and it feels like it's become a bigger thing more recently. Maybe that's me kind of misremembering, but it certainly feels like we've been getting more assists from the fullbacks as of late. Anyway, do I want to do the Montpellier game today? I'll tell you what, let's do it. Let's try and get to it nice and quickly. The reason I want to do it is because we've got a 2-week break between the Montpellier game and then the next fixtures, and additionally the January transfer window will be opening up, and it'd be nice to start next episode with that window. We have now got to quickly sort out our team. So it's kind of interesting here. This was my best 11, you might remember, at the start of the season. Obviously, things have changed a little bit in that time, which is kind of funny to think about, but at the same time, we are in a very, very good spot as far as I'm concerned. It's unfortunate that I didn't save my kind of best 11 previously. I kind of wish I'd done that now, but it's a little bit interesting at the same time to look back on the team that kind of started the season and that I considered my best 11. Obviously, this was prior to the signings of players like Wallace. But we have had some really kind of good standout players break into the first team and do well. I think this is the bench I want to go with. With the Depay injury, it's kind of opened the door for Cornet to appear a little bit more. I'm going to be honest, I've been pretty underwhelmed with Gravenberch so far. We've given him game time and he's not done a great deal with it. So there's a few teams interested in loaning him, which could be an interesting option actually. Especially if we could loan him to a team in our division who will give him regular first team football. Because he's not going to get that for us, I don't think, this year, just based off his form and based off the fact we've got a few more young attacking players coming in like Jadas. And also, of course, Francisco Trincao, who I really like the look of both these guys. With that in mind, it alone maybe makes sense come January for him. The team as a whole, though, is in a really, really good spot. I'm going to rest Wallace. Of course, we are going to benefit from the fact we rested our players. Montpellier, did you rest your best 11? If we just look... I mean, can I use my own squad view? I guess I technically can. Because we can just look at the total number of appearances, then look at the condition. Yeah, it looks like they did play one of their better 11s for their previous kind of cup game. So with that in mind, they might be struggling a little bit, which could definitely play out in our favour. Bit of a shame that Martinez was the performance of concern there. I also noticed when it came to the scout there, he was suggesting that they might play a 4-4-1-1 with two defensive midfielders. If they do play that, I think it'll be a go-to kind of switch our wing-backs onto attack. Interestingly, in the Coupe de la Ligue, PSG aren't in it. We've been drawing against Nice. It's an okay draw for us. We hammered them previously, but they are a reasonably good team. I'm just curious, who did PSG lose to in the Coupe de la Ligue? They lost to Guingamp. Wow, 2-1 as well. That is a really disappointing result for them after some solid form. They had a really torrid November, as you can see here. They've kind of bounced back well, which they've had to do because they're trying to keep pace with us and we're playing very, very well equally. But the fact that they're out the Cup makes me feel like we should be maybe taking it more seriously. If we do look at the Coupe de la Ligue, you can see the expectation is to reach... actually, the Coupe de la Ligue is not important. The Coupe de France is reach the semi-final. We're in the 9th round. I believe this is the equivalent of the French FA Cup. As you can tell by the fact we're in the 9th round, there's a fair few teams who play in it. Anyway, we've got the international break coming up, so we might see a few players kind of getting called up here. Denea is suffering from the flu. Well, if we use the club doctor, is that going to risk it spreading? We'll send him home. I'm pretty sure if we send him to the club doctor, it could spread. Morel might want to leave due to lack of first-team football. I mean, look at his physicals. They've just fallen off a cliff, even since the last time I looked at him a couple of episodes ago. I mean, mate, that's fair enough. I'm not sure who's going to want to pay his wages, though. £24,000 is a lot of money. His contract's up at the end of the year. I kind of just want to offload him for free. He's handed in a transfer request as well. We'll let him go. You can see a lot of teams have made offers here, but they want us to pay his wages. Lille only wanted me to pay £2,500. That's actually a reasonable demand. I'm not sure how much they're expecting to get him for in terms of salary. As much as I love Sochaux, former club who we've managed before, I don't really want to pay £9,000 of his wages, whereas if we're only paying £2,500, that doesn't feel quite as bad. Interestingly enough, you can see here Dembele's form. Apparently you should see him called up for his first cap. He has been playing really, really well lately. Started the season so slowly, but he's just been banging them in for fun as of late. It will be interesting to see if he does get called up. Saint-Maximin has got bruised ribs. I'm not going to give him injections. We'll just leave it to the physio. I think we might have to bring in a different player onto the bench. Just wondering who we'd bring in. See, this is the kind of situation where Jadas or Trincao would probably just come into the team. and be that player on the bench for us. Interestingly enough, we're not playing on the same day as other teams, although it looks like we're going to be playing on the Sunday when PSG also play on the Sunday. I didn't pay attention here. Are Monaco going to be playing? Doesn't look like it, so I guess we're all playing on a Sunday towards the top of the table. Probably all of our games on TV if I had to hazard a guess. Marseille, they won 3-0. Nantes, I guess, won. In fact, they didn't play. Strasbourg, how did they get on? They won 2-1 against Nice, who slipped down the table as a result. I mean, I'm looking at all these teams, but actually, in reality, Strasbourg are 15 points behind us and have played a game more. Like, we are going to be very much, unless something goes catastrophically wrong, we're going to be in the kind of running for Champions League football this year. At the bare minimum. I mean, at this point, I feel like we have to approach things with the mindset of we are in a title fight. You can see all of the teams at the top are playing. We're playing Montpellier. They are in 15th. We are away from home, though. PSG beat Nantes 2-1. That's a bit of a shame that they couldn't slip up to give us a bit more of a chance. Also, Monaco winning. So, with us being the later kickoff here, a little bit of pressure on our shoulders. Denea is recovering. As a result, I need a centre-back. Mbia at this point, despite the fact I still would kind of like to get rid of him sooner rather than later, he's going to be used as a squad player today just because of the injuries we've got. Will be interesting to see if maybe we can move him on in January. Ferland Mendy still isn't quite match fit, so Marcel's going to have to come in. How is Mendy looking? We've got him playing with the reserves. I think that's probably the best course of action, to be honest. I don't really want to rush him in too quickly. For Gnabry and McTominay, I mean, I'm going to be terminating their loans. I'm very confident of being able to do that come the transfer window. I'm just going to make them available for the reserves, just because they're not playing in the first team at all, and they might as well maintain some level of match fitness. We've got that Saint-Maximin injury. I mean, maybe I'll just put Marin on the bench. We are lacking a little bit in the wide attacking areas, it feels like, at the moment. I guess that's what happens when Depay gets injured. Still a very, very strong team. Terry has been a bit quiet today. He's fallen off his pace that he set for himself. I feel like he almost built up unrealistic expectations of what we were hoping for from him. Yeah, you can see here, they're going to play with those deeper midfielders. I mentioned that kind of 4-4-1-1 with the two defensive midfielders. That is what they're playing. With that in mind, we are going to switch our wing-backs to attack and get them slightly higher up the pitch. They don't need to be quite so wary of their defensive duties. But they're not going to be caught with, two kind of attacking wide men who sit behind them when they go on the attack duty. Often with wing-backs, if they're on attack, inside forwards or just players with the attack duty for the other team won't track back, which can sometimes work really nicely in your favour, but equally it can mean if there is a turnover in possession, your fullbacks are just caught high up the pitch and there's these players in behind with them, playing with these deeper wide players just as a left mid and a right mid. I'm not so concerned about that. Anyway, Traore, what a run that was. If he could have finished it off, I would have been off my seat. Would like to beat Montpellier today. Would really, obviously, I always want to beat a team, but particularly given the fact that we've just seen PSG and Monaco win, there's a teeny bit of pressure on us. Yes, we should be winning this game comfortably. I'm confident that we can do that. At the same time, we've got to go out there and make it happen. Ball whipped in here. I thought for a second it was going to fall straight to us. Unfortunately, Lecomte has collected the ball for them. And they're going to go for a big ball up the pitch. Marcel, lovely touch, might I add, by the left-back. What a takedown that was. Gives it to Bertrand Traore, who goes running forward. Tries to get it in. Tete in support. Inside to Ndombele. Wide to Tete now. Really nice build-up play. Can we have some end product? Marcel at left-back. Slightly higher up the pitch. Not got to worry about people behind him. Fekir turns around. Oh my gosh. I mean, what a goal that is. I'm not sure if the keeper could have done anything to stop that, but that is hit the crossbar, hit the ground, and then just gone over the line. But it's like bounced over the line very oddly. I mean, I look forward to seeing this in slow motion. I mean, it looked pretty unstoppable. The backspin on the ball has taken it in after it's hit the post. I mean, Shout out to the Football Manager physics engine, because as much as you can criticise FM, the actual physics of like the ball spinning and curving in the air has improved a lot in recent years, just on passes and stuff. And well, an example of it there, a rare example of it actually making a meaningful difference as the backspin on the ball hitting the crossbar takes it over the line. We're only one goal up here going towards half-time. We've not created a great deal, but we have been massively on top in this game. We're on the attack here. Dolly now trying to get it out for them, but only as far as Toussaint. Now with the Terrier. I criticised him, said he's been quiet. Fekir hits it. Oh my gosh. That was not far over the crossbar, was it? Actually, I thought it might have hit the bar. Apparently it didn't, but it was not far away at all. Terrier's been very, very quiet out wide, and Toussaint on a booking does scare me a little bit. You know what? Toussaint's on a booking. Papa Cech has been good when we've called upon him. I'm just going to bring in Papa Cech. He'll probably score a long shot for us now. It's in the script. It's what should be happening. We've replaced a tireless defensive midfielder with a... I didn't actually see what Papa Cech was. I think it was like energetic midfielder. Basically, it was the same thing actually. I think it was hard working. And you know what? Hard work pays off. As one famous Swedish man once said. And well, let's see if it can work out in our favour. Terrier tries to get it forward. And, well, he doesn't. Dembele on at 6.5. Dembele, look, the French scouts are looking at you. You've got a chance to break into the national team here. I'm expecting a little bit more. Good focused reaction after the team shout there. Hopefully we can be rewarded immediately with a goal. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Traore cutting inside. Gives it to Fekir. Hits it once. Blocked. Hits it again. Not far over. One thing I'm noticing about this save is that a lot of the grounds are pretty empty. Is that the case in real life? Is that like realistic? Are a lot of French teams struggling to fill their stadiums, or is that a Football Manager thing? I'm going to bring in Marin. We don't really have an alternative out on the left-hand side other than Joseph Martinez, who I'm not that convinced by, and I have a bit of a soft spot for Marin. I feel like I'm going through phases with my players, the youngsters, of having soft spots. It was Gravenberch, now it's Marin. Marin will let me down and we'll move on to Francisco Trincao when he comes in on that transfer that we've got arranged. Anyway, Ndombele, what can you do? Switches the ball to Tete, tries to get the ball in, it's blocked away, but well, we have a chance to recycle possession here and go again potentially. Traore up to Fekir. You can see Tete on the overlap here, just like kind of lurking around, whips it in. Marin's there. Can he finish it? Yes, he can. He's almost broken the net with the power on that finish. Maybe I'm right to have some faith in him. Broke his ankle or broke his foot right at the start of the year. A youngster who we've got high hopes for the future. And well, a lovely finish for him here. You can see Tete switches the play. Marin takes it down, hits it. And Lecomte has absolutely no chance there. Gets a strong hand on it, but it's not good enough. It's his first goal of the season. I mean, shout out to him. Can we get another now? Fekir, back post. Wallace is there. 3 men it takes to stop him getting to it. And it falls to Marcelo anyway. It's 3-0. We can relax finally. We've only had one clear-cut chance and one half chance. We've had 28 shots in total this game. Finally, it's starting to show on the scoreline. And this is going to be a nice way to end today's episode. A bit of pressure on our shoulders being the late kickoff for the weekend. But if there was any pressure, we're not really showing it right now, are we? We are playing really nicely. I'm going to make our last change. I'm going to bring in... I'm going to bring in Martinez for Dembele. Dembele's had a bit of a poor day at the office. I was thinking about bringing in Cornet. But Martinez did score for us previously on off the bench. We'll give him another chance here as Wallace, back post, probably should have scored. I do wonder how many goals Wallace could have scored from his back post headers, because he gets so many of them. I mean, Marcelo gets one to add to the collection there again. It's his second goal of the game from centre-back. Fekir whipping in the ball for our 2 tall centre-backs has been crucial in our game plan. The amount of goals that our centre-backs have got and just contributed to, where we have kind of, you know, second balls. Maybe we don't score directly, but the ball isn't cleared and we're able to get it into the back of the net anyway. It's been a really high total. And, well, Fekir, obviously, he has a real ball of quality. But equally, our 2 centre-backs, Wallace and Marcelo, I mean, start them for the Brazil national team. Get them both in there. They deserve to be in there. I think with this episode, we won't end it immediately. I just want to continue forward and see if any of our players end up in the national teams. Because there are a few players like Wallace and Dembele who have got to be in contention at this point. Very pleased with that though, boys. 4-0 finish. I mean, look at that. Plus 38 goal difference. This is also the halfway point in the season. Lost once against PSG. Drew 2 games. 2 games that, I don't know, Angers in 10th. Guingamp in 8th. They're games that we should be winning. But equally, at the halfway point to be doing as well as we are is, well, blooming good. I mean, Marcelo, get him in the Brazil national team. Give him the call up. Get him on the phone. It's got to happen. And also, we've got the transfer window opening in a week. So next episode should be a fun one. I don't know if we'll get quite as many games in, but with some of the loans we're terminating, I would imagine that we're going to be in a situation where we have a little bit of money to spend. We're having a few offers here for Quintin Vieira. I'm going to be honest, he doesn't look that great. I don't know who this team are, but I'm just going to sell him. They've offered us 500k and 40% of his next profit. I mean, he's never going to be good enough, is he? Basically. He's got potential to be a second division team. I wasn't even aware of his existence. I mean that in the nicest possible way. So with that in mind, I think it makes sense to let him go. I am worried that we might get some offers on some of our big players come this summer transfer window, and I don't necessarily want to lose them. Also getting some offers for this guy, Raffia. His contract's up at the end of the year. He has a little bit of potential, but not a great deal. Has it potential to be a first division player? I kind of want to just offer him a new contract if he'll take one, to be honest. He's not a player we need to sell necessarily. He wants a contract that involves big wage rises if he plays league games, which I don't think he will play league games. If he does, he's probably worth that extra bit of money, but he's the kind of player who I don't really want to give up, and I think we could probably get more than £100,000 for him, in all honesty. I should probably have a look for our reserves and just make sure we're not losing any players with good potential here. You know, at the end, it looks like actually for the most part it's players who we shouldn't be too concerned about. This guy apparently has some potential. Again, I'm not too fussed about giving him a bit of a wage rise if he plays games for us. This guy looks very good, actually. Definitely don't want to lose you on a free. Whether or not he has potential, I mean, not entirely sure. But Thomas Ualembo, we'll go with that. That sounds good. He looks okay, actually. What is his potential? You know, Ligue quality. I don't want to lose him on a free. Definitely not. Raffia falls into a similar mould. There's a few older players here. Vieira's just outside of that bracket of players I'm kind of concerned about. Is there any other players in the under-19s? Yes, there is. Okay, let's get some new contracts on offer, because apparently we were about to lose a load of players and I would not have been aware of it. Any young player basically with 3-star potential or above, I'd like to keep hold of. I don't mind including the clauses with wage rises if they play games for us. This guy has an extra year on his contract, but we might as well offer him a new contract anyway. But yeah, I definitely don't want to be giving up our young assets for free if they are players with potential. A guy like this, I'm not as fussed about losing. You know, 2.5-star, he's not really offering a great deal. This guy, potential Ligue, you know, 3-star is kind of that borderline where I'm not too fussed about losing them, in all honesty. Sofian here looks very good. Not familiar with this guy at all. I feel like his potential rating was not this good at the start of the save. I mean, yeah, you can have a new contract, because I actually like the look of you quite a lot with your determination. Although I would like you to sign a new contract instead of annoying me, and I'd like it to have an optional 3-year extension in, just in case you turn out to be really good. I mean, if anyone's doing a Lyon save, please let me know what you make of Sofian here, because he looks quite good. I'll go with Sofian Agaro. That sounds good to me. He looks okay, doesn't he? We should probably sort out his training. What would I train him as? I mean, advanced playmaker? I feel like it'd be better to get him better rounded, so maybe roaming playmaker is a good start. Also, his strength's a teeny bit low. So let's put that in as a focus. He looks good. He looks really good, actually, as does Thomas, who we've talked about before. There are a few players in this team who I'm kind of keen to see how they develop and certainly monitor their development, because they could well break into the first team. I do think a loan for Gravenberch might be a good option, though, particularly if we could get a team who will pay all his wages. If we could get him as a key player at a team in our division, that would be ideal. Whether or not teams are going to want to pay his wages is another question. I'd like to think they would. You can see players like teams like Rem are interested, but I don't really want him to be a squad rotation player. I want him to be a first-team regular. Montpellier, who we just played, willing to give him that. I'd like him to play in the first team and be a first-team regular. Nimmer, rock bottom of the league, so I kind of don't want to give him to them either. There was only really one offer there that was good, and it's Montpellier's. I mean, they're in some not so great form, aren't they, Montpellier? Jeez, okay, I did not realise we just beat them 4-0. Look at that. That is not good looking. Anyway, I'm conscious of the fact we're going above the hour mark here, but there's just some stuff to cover. Chelsea want Fekir. Yeah, no. He's not for sale. He's not for sale unless you offer 150 million, and even then I don't really want to sell him midway through the season. He's got 5 years left on his current contract, so we're not under any obligation to sell him. We have a shot at the title here. I do not want to lose that shot at the title because of the fact I decided to sell players. So it would take monster offers for me to even consider selling them. I was hoping we were going to get the national team call-ups. I'm not sure if I missed them. Did I miss them? Or has it not happened? I just got the news item through about Mangala, who's shortlisted, having 6 months left on his contract. That does mean that there's going to be other players coming up who we've been scouting who are going to have those 6 months left and are going to be kind of considering, you know, I think we could just approach to sign any of them now. We could. Right, I'm going to end today's episode here. Next episode, we'll just continue on immediately from where we're at here because I think there's some stuff to be done. Some players I definitely like the look of and would like to check out. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. It's another slightly longer one. Will be an episode tomorrow with it being Saturday. I might give you guys a catch-up day on Sunday. So if you're watching this at the weekend thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to catch up? You've only got one more episode to watch. And, well, I just want to say again, thank you for your guys' support on the series. Just as a little bit of a test, if you have got to the end, if you've watched through all of my rambling, I would like you to leave your favourite player of the series so far in the comments. Just because then I know that you've been watching and let me know what you like about them. It could be a player who's just been performing particularly well, a bit of a surprise package, a player who for no apparent reason you have a weird affection for. A bit like me and Ryan Gravenberch, who's been awful, but I like the look of still. But yeah, I look forward to reading your comments with some of your players if you've watched this far. Anyway, that's going to be all from me today, guys. If you have enjoyed, as always, do drop a like on the video. I will see you guys again tomorrow. And, well, other than that, I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.